Hello, everyone. My name is Teacher LJ, and in the next few minutes, I'll be very glad to share some things about myself. This right here is my family, and there are four of us in the family. I have three brothers, so two of them are married already. I and my youngest brother are the only ones who are left single. My family were Catholics, but they were not religious, so we were not raised in a religious home. I was the first one to become Christian in the family. In 2004, when I was 16 years old, a pastor came to our house to share the gospel with me, and readily I accepted Jesus as my Lord and Savior, even though I did not understand the gospel, because at that time, the promise of heaven was good news for me. I knew I was going straight to hell when I die. That's why the promise that I would go to heaven was truly something I was very excited about. And I was so excited that in that same week, on Sunday, I went to church. It was the first time I have ever been to a Christian church. And eventually, I came to know the Lord better through my pastor who discipled me. During the first few years of my Christian life, I was a college student. So most of my time I spent in school. In school, I would do Bible studies with my Christian friends, but eventually God led me to Campus Crusade for Christ, and that was a real blessing. I owe a lot to Campus Crusade. So much so that after graduation, I decided to join Campus Crusade as a volunteer staff, and I had a great time. I learned a great deal about disciple making through that experience. It's such a joy to be able to share the gospel with the students and disciple them and lead them to Jesus. But after 2 years, I felt God was calling me to go out of Campus Crusade. I didn't know the reason why at that time, but I just chose to follow. And during that time, after I resigned from Campus Crusade, I was basically jobless. But in the meantime, I was helping out in our church. And at the same time, I was visiting different missions organizations to find out about the possibility of going to China as a missionary. At that time, I felt the call of God to go to China as a missionary. I didn't know for sure if God was leading me to do it, but then I tried. And so I ended up with this organization, and they were asking me, "What are you going to do in China?" I said, I'm probably going to be teaching English." And they were surprised because they were thinking, why don't you want to use your profession? You your degree is different. You have a computer engineering degree. And I answered them back. I said, if I would pursue my profession as a computer engineer or software engineer, then I would be facing computers all day long. But if I would teach English, I I'm going to have a platform for missions. I can influence students more easily to follow Jesus. So their response was, okay, if you want to do that, if you want to take that career path, you need to be trained. So why don't you go to IGSL? They have a TESOL training, and from which you can learn how to teach English. So, so I did, and I learned a great deal about how to teach English here in IGSL after 5 weeks of training. After the course, my professor asked me what my plan was. So I said I was probably going to be staying here in the Philippines for 2 more years and teach English because I need some experience. That's a requirement from the Chinese government. And she said, "Oh, would you consider applying in IGSL? Because they're looking for an English teacher." And so I did. I did apply to IGSL at that time. And cut the long story short, I was hired. And instantly, I became an English teacher. The first 2 years were tough, like really tough. I had sleepless nights. I would sleep at 12 midnight, stay in the office because I was preparing lessons. But after a few years, I got the hang of it. I got the ins and outs of learning, of teaching English. And eventually, I learned to enjoy the job. And not only that, it comes with a package. It comes with a package of learning from different cultures, gaining friends, and hearing different stories from different parts of the world firsthand. So, those were some of the perks and privileges of working in an international school like IGSL. So, in other words, I loved, I have loved being here. I can say that in the 8 years I've been here in IGSL, I I have felt the most alive. Like I was able to find my niche. I never thought I would be an English teacher, but here I am. I thought I would go to China as a missionary, but eventually God led me here. I don't know until when I'm going to be here, but I'm enjoying every moment that I'm here because I get to serve leaders like you. At the same time I was teaching English, I was also doing ministries on the side. I was preaching in our church. I was doing children's ministry in a nearby community. And yeah, but now I cannot do those things. So, because of the pandemic. So, what I'm doing right now is just online ministries. I have been discipling an Iranian guy whom I've met here in the Philippines. We tried to help him while he was here. He got imprisoned. He met Jesus in the prison, and when he was able to go back to Iran, he couldn't find a church. It's very hard to find fellowship in Iran. So he's basically alone as a Christian. So I thought of ministering to him. We do Bible studies twice a week. And at the same time, my brother and I are leading our family for a Bible study every week. So those are some things I'm doing right now during the pandemic. At this point, I want to share with you things I do for fun. Let me start with badminton. I love playing badminton. It was in IGSL that I started playing badminton. That was maybe 7 years or 8 years ago. I remember at that time, one of my students from Vietnam invited me to play badminton. And I thought it was easy, so I just came and played. And I realized it's not an easy sport. So what happened was he trained me. He taught me every morning. We were here at 6 a.m. that early just to practice playing badminton. And eventually he became one of my best friends, and I'm really thankful to him. Not only because he introduced me to badminton, but also he introduced me to going to the gym. Yeah, so playing badminton was just the beginning of my fitness journey. It did not end there because we would only play badminton for I think twice a week. So on other days, we would go to the gym together. He would teach me some exercises to strengthen my core, my legs, all of which are necessary for badminton. But later on, when he left for Vietnam, I decided to take bodybuilding to the next level. I didn't just go to the gym just to train for badminton. I explored different exercises different kinds of strength training. So that's what my second hobby is. Aside from badminton, I also go to the gym. Now, yeah, when we say gym, there are two kinds of gym. This one is the gymnasium right here. It's where sports activities are held. And then there's the other gym, which I'll be bringing you up to later. And it is right there. It is upstairs. Gym, weights room. All right. All right. Welcome to the weights room of IGSL. This is one of the weights room that we have in IGSL. There's one downstairs, but this is where I go to every lunchtime because no one's here. Every lunchtime I come up here and do my workout, and at the same time I spend time with God here. Uh, this is the quietest place in IGSL at this time because no one comes up here. So I find this a fitting place to be working out my soul, my spiritual life, and at the same time my muscles, my body. So come join me in my workout. I'm gonna be doing bench press today for my chest. Hopefully I can do it right. This weekend I didn't go to the gym. That's it for the first set. I'm gonna do 2 more sets. See you later. After going to the gym, I prepare my lunch. Since this will be the first meal of the day, I try to eat as healthy as I can. I make sure that there's a balance of protein, carbohydrates, healthy fats, fiber, and whatnot. After that, I can eat what I want. If I want to indulge in some sweets, I'll do that after eating a healthy meal. I make sure that the first thing I fill my stomach with after fasting for a few hours is something healthy. And yeah, I forgot to mention, I do intermittent fasting for health reasons. I fast for 16 to 18 hours every day, so I only eat from 2 p.m. until 8 p.m. All right. Now, after going to the gym and preparing my lunch, now it's time to eat. So what we say in the Philippines is kain. That means we are inviting you to eat with us. The last thing I want to share with you is my love for traveling. Since I started working in IGSL, I made it a personal goal to travel to at least one country every year. I've always been curious to see what it's like to be in other countries, to experience different cultures, and to taste different kinds of food. But I don't just travel for these things, I travel to visit my family, friends, and former students. Let me share with you some countries I've visited. The first one is Korea. I've been to Korea twice. The last time I was there, I visited 4 of my students and got to experience seeing them in their homes and ministry areas. The second, and probably my most favorite, is Japan. Ever since I was a child, I've wanted to go to Japan, so when my disciple invited me to come, immediately I said yes. I also visited my former student in an online class there. And of course, the States. Every 2 years, I visit my aunt and uncle who live in California. I've been there thrice and have visited a few places. And the last one is Vietnam. To me, Vietnam is the most underrated travel destination. I've been to its major cities, Saigon, Da Nang, and Hanoi, and I've always loved going there. And of course, I've always loved visiting my friends there. It's been a pleasure sharing a little bit about my life with you. Now it's time for you to share yours.